How's it going, guys? This is going to be our first video for learning how to create websites in Photoshop. In this segment, we're going to learn the basics. We're going to talk about where to really start, how to get started on this, making the framework for our website. So the very first thing we want to do when we're making any website, whether this is in HTML, Photoshop, or later on in Dreamweaver, every time the first thing we want to do is make a central location to save our work. So we're going to make a folder for our work. We're going to right click on the desktop, go to new, folder, and give it a name appropriate for this website. We're going to call ours drone site. Just you name it whatever you want. Drone site will let you know that that's what's going to be in that folder. Now we're going to go into Photoshop and we're going to create a new document. So file, new, give it a name. Our home page or our first page is always called index. Those of y'all that had me for HTML know why that is, and we've done this a lot. So if I catch you naming it home or something like that, you know I'm going to be upset. You know better. Call it index from the very beginning. Our width and our height, our width is going to be 1366 pixels, not inches, 768 pixels, not inches. And we're going to not really worry with anything else. We're going to leave it like it is. And hit OK. Now, the reason why it's 1366 by 768, just to recap that is the most common or the second most common resolution used today. And we want to pick a resolution that's going to be able to be viewed perfectly on the most monitors. So we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to get our basic layout here, our artboard. The next thing that we want to do is create our content container. This is the centerpiece for our website that's going to contain all of our content, our text, our buttons, everything is going to go here. So how we're going to do that, we're going to use our rectangle tool down here, and we're going to give it a new color, any color. I'll just pick blue. And if you could draw it out, but what I'm going to do is, instead of drawing it, I'm simply going to click one time, and that's going to bring up a dialog box that we can use to simply input the dimensions directly. For our content container, we always want it to be 940 pixels wide. Again, that has a lot to do with the most common resolutions used. Don't worry about that number, just know that the content container always needs to be 940 wide. The height, we're going to make it the height of our page. Now, just for for future reference, the height can change. The height of our page can change. As we want to add more content, we can change that later. But for now, we'll just leave it the height of our page. Get our move tool, and we'll recenter that on the page as best we can. Now it's time that we want to create some guides. Okay, now here's what guides are. Guides act like straight edges or rulers. You know, if you've ever hung something on a wall, you might have used a straight edge or a ruler or something like that. That's what these guides are. They're going to help us make sure that everything is centered with each other, is in line with each other. You should have your rulers up here at the top and on the side, but if you don't, here's where you go to find them. You go to the view menu and down to rulers and make sure that's checked, and that will turn them on and off. Also, if yours is not showing pixels, if yours is in inches like this, you're going to need to right click on the ruler, make it pixels, because we're in web right now. Okay, now I can tell you, we went over this in class, we're going to need to find the center of our page. We're going to create two guides, one vertical and one horizontal, that are going to intersect at the very center of our page, and that's going to help us keep a lot of things centered. I will say two numbers I'm going to give you. The center of this page vertically is going to be 683. So if you saw what I did there, I'm going to drag a guide, click and drag out of the ruler, just like that, and I'm going to put it at 683. Right there. Let go. The next one's going to be a 384 horizontally. So I'm going to come up to my top ruler, click and drag, and I'm going to look for 384. And it was right on it. So 384, let go. Now, everything that I make here, if you'll notice, watch the pink. it's going to snap to my guides. So I know that that's exactly in the center right now. Okay, moving on a little bit quicker, we're going to go ahead and make our entire template here for our content container. So I'm going to do this with more rectangles. I'll get another rectangle, change its color. You can change these colors later. I'm just going to pick some random colors here. So I'm going to pick, just say blue. And left click. Now I'm going to make a header. My content container is 940 wide, and that's how wide I want that header. It's what's going to go across the top. My height, anywhere from, I don't know, 50 to 250 is good. I'm probably going to stick with 150 just to keep it simple. Get my move tool, and you'll notice notice the pink. It's going to snap right into place for me. Okay, that's what we're wanting. We want everything to look nice and neat. Okay, so there's my header. Get that tool again. We're going to make a new one for our navigation bar, which is going to be right up under there. Again, 940 wide because it's going to be the entire length of our content container. The height of this, 50 to 100 would be good. I'm going to change its color just so you can see it better. And we'll move it up into place. That is our navigation bar. So that is where we're going to be putting our links later, okay, or our buttons. I want to make sure that it docked into place up underneath that header. It's kind of hard to see. Okay, next, we'll grab this again, and actually, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this navigation bar, and I'm going to create a footer from it. So I'm going to right-click on my layer here, and go to duplicate, and we'll just hit OK. And I can drag that duplicate layer down, and I'm going to make a footer with it. Just get my page down here. Zoom out a little bit, and it should dock right into place down there. And now I only have two pieces left. I'm going to make a sidebar on the left or the right, and a body or a content spot. So grab this again. This is the hardest one because you're probably going to have to do some math. Here's what I'll say to keep it easy. Just go ahead and click. Give it a starting width and height. You know, something like that. And we're just going to make a sidebar. So we'll come over here and it should dock right into place. If it doesn't, we'll zoom in a little bit, make sure it's going to dock into place here. And it doesn't look like it is docking. So if it's not docking, which means it's actually called snapping, if it's not snapping, come into your view menu and make sure, come down to snap is on and snap to. It's snapping to guides, but it's not snapping to other layers. So we're going to make sure that's clicked. Now watch it. It snapped right into place up underneath the navigation bar. Okay, you'll feel it if you get in here. It really just kind of snaps it in there. Okay, now from there, we're going to make this the entire length left here, which ends up being 521, some odd number. And drag it out as much as you'd like to. I'm just going to do 150. Make sure you try to make it numbers that are easy to work with, in case you have to do some math with it later. So we'll just make that a even 150. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to fill this remaining area with another rectangle. You don't have to. You could just start putting content there. But I would rather do that just for me, in case I wanted to change its color, you know, just to be safe. We're going to go ahead and fill it up with another color. Square here, or rectangle. And this one will be super simple because it's going to dock right in there and snap into place for us. Now that everything's snapping. Okay, hit enter to accept that. And now we have our basic layout for our page. We're going to go ahead and save this. Now, do not go and save for web. We're not ready for that yet. Just save your Photoshop file. Make sure that you put it in your folder that we put on the desktop called drone site. Double check that you're putting it in the right place. Hit save, Hit OK for maximum compatibility. You can do don't show again if you want to. Hit OK, and you're done. In this next video, we'll start covering, we'll make some more guides, and we'll cover how to create buttons and where we're going to put text and things like that. Okay, so join us for that a little bit later.